Okay, today we're going to discuss the best ways to make blankets on the Flexee Looms. And we will start off with building your loom with however many pegs you're going to use, or whichever gauge. But I'm going to show you with the chunky gauge. Now, right now I just have some of all of the rotatings all together. And yes, they do. They will wiggle like that. But as you work on them, you will just work on those right in front of you, and you can shift it around and make it go out over whatever you have it on. I like to sit on the recliner and have my workout in front of me. You'll see that in a moment. But if you are going to be making a blanket, you're going to want to use all of the lengths, which include all of the straight ones as well. And so you're going to want to distribute those straight lengths in with your rotating lengths. You would want to put one straight every third length. But if you want to set up for a blanket, because you don't even have to put it around into a loop if you don't want to. You can leave it unconnected. But it would still move around. But you can set up your loom for all one color for the borders, a color to break it. If you have repeats, you could set it up with colors on your repeats for your stitch pattern. Let me show you a real quick thing. Some people are having problems getting them apart before they loosen up a little bit. Let me tell you this, though. If you're using and you're trying to separate a straight, all you got to do is twist it like that and it will pop straight out. Now, the rotating ones are a little bit different. There are people, see, of course, I've used these just a few times and they will already do that. Some people have using different tools to stick in here and pop them apart, and that would work too. Just whatever is easiest for you. So let's get started on the information you will need to make a blanket, along with the estimates of peg and link counts, even kit counts, along with some prices as well to see and to compare how many you would need, how many kits you would need, links, pegs, whatever, for different size flat panels. It's just an estimate. I still highly recommend swatch gauges, so you will definitely know for your attention on what size you're going to end up with. So let's get going. Now that we have discussed how to put your links together, let's discuss how you will be holding it. I like to hold mine out on my lap and just turn my links as I work back and forth, and the shape of the loom is still out over my lap, down my legs, and I just turn it as I go while I'm sitting in my recliner. But when you get ready to get up, especially once the work gets to be heavy, you will want to fold it over a couple of times, and then you will want to put your hands down over each side and carry it that way, because the loom is definitely not sturdy enough to hold it out. With the weight on it, the links will pop apart. Now let's talk about what makes this loom unique. You can keep it out just straight. You do not have to connect it into a circle. Or you can work with it in a circle, but then you can unhook it and lay it out flat so that you can measure it. And as you see at the top, the links will gather in. You know when work is on the loom, the stitches are stretched out, so it will always shrink when it comes off. Well, the Flexee Loom adjusts for that, and that's why it will automatically pull the links together into a wiggly shape, and not because it's wiggly, but it's looks wavy, and you will see that it will be easier to measure your items this way, because especially with flat panels, you can open it up, you can lay it out on a flat surface, you can measure easier width as well as length. And the top by the loom will not be still stretched out. It will try to shrink on down and be like if you were using needles. Now let's discuss how many links, pegs, and kits you will need to make different size flat panels. Now these flat panels that I am listing are going to be labeled in blanket sizes, and they are width only, because then you can just work however long you want it to cast on. This is only a rough estimation to give you an idea of how many kits you may need. Let's look at the approximate peg counts for blankets in the skinny gauge. Skinny gauge is 3/8 inch center to center peg spacing. Now, for a 30-inch wide, which would be approximately the size of a baby blanket, you will need 60 links, which equals 120 pegs. For a 48-inch wide throw blanket, you will need 96 links, which is 192 pegs. A twin size blanket, which is 70 inches wide, you will need 140 links, which is 280 pegs. A full size 84-inch width blanket, 168 links, which is 336 pegs. For a queen size, which would be about approximately 90 inches wide, you would need 180 links, which is 360 pegs. A king size, which is 110 inches wide, you will need 220 links, which is 440 pegs. Well, how many kits does that make? Well, with 2 skinny gauge kits, you can make up to a throw size blanket, up to 48 inches wide. So you can make a baby blanket with 2 kits, or a throw, or anything smaller than that. With 3 kits of the skinny gauge, you can make a twin size blanket of up to 70 inches wide. 4 skinny kits would be enough for a full size and a queen size, so making it up to 90 inches wide. To make a king size blanket, you will need 5 skinny kits. But just to be safe, you might just want to go ahead and get that 6th kit. That way you know you will have enough to make whatever you want to. If you want more than that, though, go for it. Now let's move on to the chunky gauge. The chunky gauge is 5/8 inch peg spacing. Therefore, for a baby blanket that would be approximately 30 inches wide, we would need approximately, once again, this is all estimates, we would need 38 links or 76 pegs. For our next size of 48 inches wide, which would be the equivalent of a throw, we would need 60 links and 120 pegs. Moving on along, we have a twin size of 70 inches wide. That would be 88 links or 276 pegs. A full-size blanket at 84 inches wide, we would need a total of 105 links, which would be 210 pegs. Queen size at 90 inch, 113 links, which would be 226 pegs. King size, which is 110 inches wide, we would need 138 links, which is 276 pegs. So how many chunky kits would we need for each thing? We would need 2 chunky kits for a baby blanket or a throw. So up to 48 inches wide, we would need 2 chunky kits. Now up to 84 inches wide, up to a full-size blanket, which would include a twin as well, you would need 3 chunky kits. And for a queen size or a king size, so up to 110 inches wide, saying I did not get my math wrong, we would need 4 chunky kits. So what's our safest bet? You guessed it. Go ahead, get that next one. 5 chunky kits is the safest amount. So thanks for joining me. Now let's make a blanket.